All right, let's get right into it. When you think about a passenger jet, your mind probably goes to the incredible engineering, right? The powerful engines, the massive wings, all the advanced computers in the cockpit. But what if I told you the most critical component for a safe flight isn't actually part of the plane at all? It's a weird thought, isn't it? We put so much faith into the machine itself. But the people who write the safety regulations, they are laser focused on something else entirely. Something that's way more complex and, sometimes a lot more fragile than any machine. And there you have it. The single most important factor is the pilot. Aviation authorities demand what the official rules call an impeccable state of health. And listen, that's not just good health, it's impeccable. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's the absolute foundation of safety for everyone on board. So you gotta ask, why? What is the logic here? Why does a pilot's medical background get put under a microscope more intensely than just about any other job on the planet? Well, that's what we're gonna break down. We're gonna look at the exact medical rules and see why even a seemingly minor condition can ground a career before it even gets off the runway. Okay, first up, the command center. We're talking about the pilot's mind and nervous system. You really have to think of it like the aircraft's central computer. It's got to process just a staggering amount of information, make critical, split-second calls, and stay rock solid under pressure that most of us can't even imagine. And here's what's really striking. When it comes to the mind, the rules are absolute. There is zero gray area. Any diagnosed psychological or neurological disorder is an immediate, automatic disqualification. End of story. Because that system, that command center, has to be 100% reliable, 100% of the time. And the list of what they look for is huge. We're talking about everything from depression and anxiety disorders to schizophrenia or epilepsy. Even a history of personality disorders or any condition that could cause a loss of consciousness, it's a total deal breaker. Same goes for significant memory or attention problems. I mean, the risk of just one mental lapse at 30,000 feet, it's just unthinkable. And that really gets to the heart of it. When things go seriously wrong, when alarms are screaming and the plane is in trouble, the pilot's mind can't become another source of chaos. It has to be the one calm, rational, focused place that guides everyone else back to safety. And that's a standard where there is simply no room for compromise. Okay, so if the mind is the command center, what about the rest of the pilot's body? Well, you can think of that as the engine room. It's all this complex, interconnected machinery that absolutely has to keep running perfectly for the whole flight. So the medical exam is basically a full systems diagnostic on that engine. They check everything: the heart, the lungs, your blood, even your entire surgical history and any systemic diseases. Every single part is looked at to see how stable and resilient it is, especially under the unique stresses of flight. And here's why that's so critical. Take a condition like anemia. On the ground, it might be totally manageable, but at high altitude, where there's less oxygen, it can lead to dangerous weakness or dizziness. Or think about a chronic infection. It could suddenly get worse mid-flight and completely incapacitate a pilot. You see, the link between the health condition and the risk in the air is direct and undeniable. Now here's one that might actually surprise you. Even first and second degree obesity can be a disqualifier. And you might ask why? Well, it's because it puts extra strain on the whole cardiovascular system, it lowers your endurance, and it can even physically limit a pilot's ability to move quickly and effectively in a cramped cockpit during an emergency. The big principle here, the main takeaway, is stability. A pilot's health can't be a moving target. So any condition that needs constant medical watch or has the potential for more surgeries down the line, it just introduces an unacceptable level of risk and uncertainty. It's got to be ruled out. So we've looked at the mind, the command center, and the body, the engine room. Now let's talk about the pilot's input systems. These are the senses that are basically the plane's most important instrument panel: vision and hearing. And the regulations couldn't be clearer on this. They literally state that vision is of critical importance. It makes sense, right? A pilot needs to read complex displays, spot other planes in the sky, and identify runway markings in a split second in all kinds of light and weather. So what does that actually mean? Well, you need near-perfect eyesight and perfect color perception. That means things like glaucoma or other diseases of the retina are an instant no. And it's the same deal for hearing and your sense of balance. A healthy inner ear is a must, while serious hearing loss or vestibular issues, things that affect your balance, are also out of the question. You might be thinking, okay, but what about something really minor, like a sinus infection? Well, think about it. When a plane is climbing or descending, the air pressure changes fast. For someone with inflamed sinuses, that pressure change can cause blinding pain and disorientation. It can seriously compromise their ability to do their job. Even the small stuff becomes a big deal at 30,000 feet. So, after hearing all this, what does it mean for someone who dreams of becoming a pilot? That brings us to our last section, the ultimate pre-flight check. Not for the airplane, but for you. If flying is your dream career, your journey doesn't actually start in a flight simulator or a classroom. It starts in a doctor's office. Because understanding these medical hurdles is, without a doubt, the real first step before you pour your time, your money, and your heart into aviation. And the advice from the experts is pretty straightforward. First, you need to become an expert on the official medical requirements yourself. They're usually public, right on the website for your country's aviation authority. Read them. Know them inside and out. Then, and this is so important, get your own full medical exam before you go for the official one. This is not about trying to cheat the system. It's about being smart, understanding your own health, and finding any potential roadblocks early on so you can avoid crushing disappointment later. And it is so critical to remember, none of this is about bureaucracy or just creating pointless obstacles. Every single one of these rules is another vital link in the chain of aviation safety. They're all there to protect the passengers, the crew, and even the public on the ground below. Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. We worry about food safety, traffic laws, building codes, all of these public safety rules. But is it possible that the intense, rigorous medical screening of the person in the cockpit is the single most important public safety regulation that most of us never even consider? It's definitely something to think about next time you're buckling your seatbelt.